Anthony, it's funny, after all this, stock sort of looks like it's going to open the day flat, but give me your take here on the earnings and what the stock should be doing.
I mean, in terms of the subscriber growth, it's pretty straightforward, Beat. The global story in terms of subscriber growth is strong, it's intact. Yes, people love the service, and the $15 billion or so they're spent on cash is going towards a great service. They're just doing a great job. I think there are a couple of small questions around the quarter in terms of why are we not seeing the benefit of the price increase that they did a couple days ago, kind of flow through the financials in terms of revenue, and why is the guidance on international revenue also not seeing the benefit of this tremendously strong growth in international subscribers. I think there are explanations for those, David. In the U.S., we'll see more of the benefit later in the year. So that price increase will be loaded more into the second quarter and beyond as compared to next quarter. And then
because it doesn't all take place at one time, right, Anthony?
Correct.
I mean, I guess it's until June that you've got to sort of reprice your base overall.
That's true, but also what comes with that is a little bit of uncertainty around, are we going to see churn pick up in the U.S. as a result of the price increase in Q2? If you're a bull, you say, it's an incredible price-value relationship. You're not going to see any of that. Internationally, I think it's very interesting because I think that a lot of the new growth internationally is coming from emerging markets, and whether it be India or other places in Asia. And you don't necessarily, at least right now, have that pricing power abroad. And some of that is because of affordability. But what I'm seeing in the numbers is that the revenue per paid subscriber is actually declining or decelerating because of that effect. And so that's in addition to the currency headwinds, which is obvious. But in addition to that, the one small thing I would highlight is how do we think about new subscribers in India that are coming in on a mobile only or very low price plan. It's almost a tale of two different stories in terms of pricing power.
So you're raising a very important point, I would think, for valuation when you look out. Okay, so if you're adding internationally these kinds of subs you're talking about, revenue per user is going to be substantially lower and margins, therefore, substantially lower than the domestic base.
That's right.
And that's where the growth is, right, Anthony?
That's correct. That's where, I believe the growth is broad-based, but I believe at least in part the growth is coming from some of these newer markets, right? And so that's why I think for me anyway, I would have liked to see some of the revenue benefit of the U.S. price increase show itself in terms of an improved profitability outlook from the company. The margin target for 2019 remained unchanged at 13%. Okay, I would have thought it would have gone higher. Now the bulls will say, who cares? You're going to get it in the future anyway. Those international subs you're talking about, once they get addicted to Netflix, they'll pay more for it, in 2, 3, 4 years. I get it. But it seems to be taking a little bit longer for it to flow through the financials than I would have thought. And that free cash flow deficit, they're burning, they're investing $3 billion of negative free cash flow in 2019. The trajectory of that did not improve last night. So I want to see that. I want to see that improve a little bit more rapidly. I think we will, and that's why in general I'm positive. I just think that, I think the verdict is still out on a couple of those questions I mentioned going into next quarter.
All right, Anthony, those that are skeptical, there aren't too many this morning, but a lot of them reference the seasonality in the earnings and that Q2 tends to be a little more challenging. If you bought here, should you be prepared for, flat to lower prices as we get through the summer?
In terms of the stock, lower prices, or what? Or in terms of the product?
Or the results.
I don't think that lower prices is in the cards in terms of the U.S. I think what you're hitting on is what are we going to see from subscriber growth in the second quarter. A lot of that price increase is going to hit people, up $2 in terms of their price, their service. And do 100% of the people stay on, or is the guidance for the 2Q U.S. subscribers going to show not only the seasonal weakness, which you rightly mentioned, but also a little bit of churn from that price increase? Again, the verdict is still out. We didn't get gratification on that in terms of the first quarter outlook.
Anthony, always curious to see what Netflix tells us and chooses not to tell us. For instance, I thought they were becoming more transparent when they said that over 80 million people watched Bird Box in the first 4 weeks. that it hit the site. But on the other hand, Julia Boorstin, our reporter who covers it, kept pointing out that they are not telling us the non-paid subscribers, those that are using the free trials, which is a bit of a change. So are they becoming more or less transparent, and what kind of story are they trying to tell to investors in those choices?
Okay, so I think on the data points on viewership, I think those are all welcomed, but in reality, they're pulling the best of the data points, right? So Bird Box is 80 million viewers. That's an incredible number globally. But, you know, we don't have data for every movie or every show. I'm sure you've got wins and losses, and you've got a whole body of content in there with different profiles of viewership.